Thank you so much for joining us today for today's CMA Showcase video. Um, I'm actually really excited today because I'm with Carole Henderson from Edu-Therapy. Carole is one of our precious members who I feel really stands out because of the work that she does. It's so important. It's so vital for every single one of us. And I just cannot emphasize too much that you really need to engage with this incredible woman's work. So, Carole, thank you for being here. So appreciate you taking time out to do this for us.
And thank you for having me, Jamie, and that wonderful introduction. Thank you so much.
No, you're so welcome. Carole, I think everybody's now thinking, so what does Carole actually do? So would you like to explain to our viewers and listeners about this amazing work that you do?
Well, to put it extremely badly, I help people cry. No, seriously, I'm a grief specialist. I work with grief and loss. So the way I do that to help the most people is I train other people in the methodology that I use, but I also work with grieving people. And when I talk about grief, I'm talking about emotional loss. So, yes, that might be bereavement, but equally, we grieve all losses as human beings. So, it might be a relationship that died rather than a person, or it might be loss of health, something we're all very close to. Here, it may be some more intangible losses, such as loss of safety or security or innocence or childhood. So whenever we experience profound emotional loss, we grieve it. It's just culturally, we just don't tend to use the G word to
Mm.
describe that. And then, so what I do is I teach people how to resolve the grief. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we often talk about grief as something we learn to live with.
Mm.
And almost it's heresy to suggest that you can heal from it.
Mm.
Healing is when we have unresolved grief and when we have resolved grief.
Mm.
So that's kind of the nub of what I do is I help people resolve the stuff that's as yet unresolved.
I think this is so important because I do think, the sort of the prevailing wisdom is, yes, you will, it will never go away. You will learn to live with it. Other things may come in and to kind of not crowd out the grief as such, but actually other things will come into your life. But it's almost as if, with that frame of mind, it's almost as if it's a life sentence. And what
Mm.
you're saying is that actually there is more light at the end of the tunnel than that. So yes, it's such a fascinating thing. So if you can talk a bit more about the way that you work, that'd be lovely.
I think what we need to do is separate the loss from the grief. So the loss is forever,
Mm.
usually. I say that obviously when someone dies, and I got into this work because my first husband died. So a profound loss. I was 40 years old. He was 41 when he died, and it absolutely, completely floored me,
Mm.
as you might imagine. And that was a huge amount of emotional pain. I just, looking back now, it's one of those things, how did I ever get through that? Um, so the loss is still there. It's 20 years ago this year. I find that hard to believe that he died. Yes, I've had another birthday ending in zero. So now when I remember him, it's with fondness. Sometimes it's with sadness. Would have been our 40th wedding anniversary last weekend, and that was a sad day.
Mm.
It was sad because he was a good man that's not here anymore.
Yes.
But the difference is the pain isn't there anymore. So for me, the difference between, if you like, resolved grief and unresolved grief. Resolved grief, we're left with the sadness, but we're also left with the fond memories. We're left with all the aspects of the relationship. When grief is unresolved, it's painful.
Mm.
It hurts. You can't talk about them without the tears springing up or the stab of pain through the heart or to the guts or wherever it's particularly hitting us. So while the loss may be, it does not have to be. But because of this idea that we just have to learn to live with it, some people get themselves really wound around the idea that somehow if they feel better, they didn't love them enough or something. And that's just simply not true. In no other healing way would we want people to carry some pain as a trophy
Yes.
or as some kind of flag to say, yes, our love was valid or real or huge or whatever the metaphor is that you want to use. So I'm very passionate that we don't have to just live with it. We do not have to live in pain. And I'm sure that's a message that many of my fellow CMA members would agree with, is we don't have to be in pain just because this school of thought says it has to be painful. It doesn't necessarily have to be. And for me, the big discovery that was grief. And after he died, I trained in everything that helped me.
Mm. Mm.
So I trained in thought field therapy. I trained as a nutritional therapist, which is how I first bumped into the CMA. And I'm so glad I did, because you've kind of been alongside me all these years. Oh, I can't believe it's been this many years, Jayney. I really can't.
I know.
But what I discovered was when we address grief head on, not calling it something else, not calling it stress or any other symptom, when you address that, all the other stuff starts to work so much more effectively.
Of course. Yes.
Because as we know, we are one system. It's a holistic system. So grief affects all of it, and it tends to manifest itself wherever we are physiologically weakest. So if you're already kind of a bit problematic in the gut area, maybe, then you have a big loss, then it will show in your IBS, in your gut functions. And so it goes to wherever we're weakest. But what tends to happen is that's the physical symptom, and we're working away to resolve the IBS.
Mm.
But if we resolve the grief that's triggering the IBS,
Mm.
and suddenly all those things to mitigate the IBS will suddenly become so much more effective. And that's what I really noticed when I was still doing nutritional therapy and then I started doing the grief work. It became exponentially better, and that's when I started to get really excited about what I was doing. And it kind of got to that point, it was back in 2012, where the nutritional work was getting busy and the grief work was getting busy, and you kind of couldn't do both, so I had to choose. It was really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yes.
And I went for the grief work simply because I could get to more people more quickly and make a bigger difference more
Yes.
quickly.
Yes. And what a huge difference you're making. I mean, anybody going to your incredible website. I mean, it's funny, before we jumped on the call, we were saying, yes, you've got a fantastic website. And then you said, and things are changing at the moment, just about to launch a new one in due course. But the existing site is fantastic. And you've got all of those credentials on it, where you've worked with the lifeboat people. In fact, I've got your site right there in front of me at the moment, and I was just so impressed. Gurkha Welfare Trust, BBC, Royal Air Forces Association, the Lifeboats TES. Absolutely extraordinary. The work that you have done and the mark you are making on this world is just nothing short of it's remarkable, Carole. It really is. Just so impressive. If anybody is in grief, how would they work with you? Would they contact you directly via your site, or what's the best way for people to come to you?
Yes, they can contact me via my site, and if I'm not the best person to work with them, I also have the network of people that I've trained and I can put them in touch with.
Yes.
So it's a program.
Mm.
It's 8 sessions and it's structured. So I'm a teacher, hence Edu. So Edu is short for education. If you've not heard it out loud, people say, is it Edu-Therapy?
Right.
Edu sounds quite Yorkshire. No disrespect to my Yorkshire colleagues. So it's short for education because essentially I'm teaching people how to help themselves. So it's very empowering.
Yes.
I'm teaching them a set of skills because people always say you need to let go and move on.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that in the pain to grief and go, okay, right, let go of what and how.
Exactly.
And Edu-Therapy is the what and how. So it's a step-by-step process. Yeah, it's expressing some feeling while you're there, but really it's step by step just to take those small steps to help yourself
Mm,
learn how to let go of what's keeping you stuck in the pain, not of the relationship or whatever it is that you're missing. Because I can't magically go anywhere. Sometimes you wish you could forget about it, but usually you don't want to forget about it. So it is that getting to that point, which I described earlier, of what we call the pure emotion of grief, which is sadness,
mm.
and also so that you can have your fond memories back. And one of the things I hear a lot is, thank you for giving me my dad back, or thank you for giving me my son back. Because what often happens is we get stuck on the ending.
Yes. Yeah.
And the relationship is so much more than the ending. I
Mm,
met Kevin when I was 18. I married when I was 20.
mm.
And so by the time he died on me, we'd had 22 years together, which was all my adult life. I'd never made an adult decision on my own,
Yes. Yes.
really. So that was huge.
Mm.
I haven't said goodbye to that. I've still got that. I've still got the fond memories. I've still got the lessons he taught me. And I'll say goodbye to the bits that were more difficult because he was a normal human
Yeah.
chap. So sometimes a nightmare to live with.
Yeah.
And what that meant was that when I met Ian, my heart was whole
Mm.
and I could start a new relationship with a whole heart. Because
Yes.
if you're going to give your heart away, giving one that's been smashed to bits isn't much of a gift.
Not really, is it? No. Oh dear.
So, and I'm happy to say that I've now been married 11 years to Ian, and I put the success of this marriage down in part to the healing that I've done,
Yeah.
so that, Kev isn't a ghost in our marriage. He's
Yeah.
just part of my past, like we all have a past when
Yeah.
we enter a new
Yes.
relationship, and one that Ian is pretty peaceful and comfortable with,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he is in my past. He's not current in my life because
Yes.
of the healing work that I've
Yeah.
done.
Oh, gosh, that is absolutely, it's so beautiful. I mean, just hearing you speak about this, I really feel it. It really touches me. And it's just, it is remarkable and very, very precious work. And thank you for doing it. And thank you for creating, for creating this, because it's, as I said earlier, it's so desperately needed by all of us. So as far as other practitioners who are watching this at the moment, how would they come and train with you? Because I think it's suitable for all practitioners, because as practitioners, we all at one time or another are dealing with people who are grieving, if not ourselves. So I think this is a life skill that is crucial, actually. So they would presumably contact you through edu-therapy.uk. And then you said it's an 8-week program. Is that for the educators as well, or is that for the...
That's for the end users. So the
Right.
training is a
Okay.
4-day certification.
Right.
Um, and it's both for them personally, because if you're going to teach others how to heal, you need to heal yourself
Yes.
first.
Yes.
So the first part of the training is experiential. So you're learning how to deal with loss by dealing with your own loss. And then the next part is a lot of communication skills, the language that's more helpful to use around grieving people and the language that's less helpful to use around grieving people, because there's a lot of that out there. And then we take a look at the nitty-gritty of the program and the mechanics and the protocols and all that good stuff. But what I'm very passionate about, Jayney, is that I never just wave goodbye at the end of the 4 days, say, here's your certificate, off you go,
Yeah.
because having done a few courses time where that's happened, and
Yes.
not necessarily cheap ones either. You hand over a
Yeah.
huge amount of money and then you go, and now what?
Yes.
If I
Yes.
get stuck.
Yes.
So I include 2 years of support
Oh,
after the training,
yes.
because it's my mission to get grieving people helped.
Mm.
That doesn't work if someone does a training course with me and then says, well, I feel a bit better, but I've no clue now how to get started. So
Mm.
we have a launch pad, we have a way to help people get out there and actually start doing the work.
Fantastic.
Because as you say, it touches on everything.
Mm.
And I actually often refer to it as the shadow pandemic.
Mm.
When you think of how many losses
Yes.
we all experienced in
Yes.
COVID,
Yes.
and we're carrying that on top of all the lifetime losses that we were carrying
Yeah.
anyway. Is it any wonder we're seeing an epidemic of anxiety, of obesity, of ill health?
Mm.
It's just out of control. So
Yeah.
anything that we can do to help support people, I'm passionate about. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this one.
Yes.
Recognize that no one thing is right for everyone, which is why another reason why I think the whole CMA thing is
Yeah.
marvelous, because it's such a broad expanse of expertise and
Very-
ideas and
Yeah.
approaches,
Yeah.
which is lovely. But yes, if people feel that they're stuck, and maybe one of the signs might be if you're seeing a patient and afterwards you are feeling it's impacting you perhaps a bit more than it should have, maybe what their story is stuck with you and it's staying with you and it's not going, that might be a clue that there's something unresolved
Very much
in.
so. Yes.
And I'm always happy to have a chat. And I know my course is not right for everyone, but I'm happy to chat to anyone who goes, so tell me a bit more about it, which is why I'm here today, because you gave me an excuse, Jayney, to talk about it. So thank you.
No excuse needed. No, as I say, I really think, I cannot stress this enough. I think it's such I think it's a vital life skill. I really do. I wish they would, I wish you were in schools, or I wish your system was in schools. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's something we need to work on, isn't it, really? So
Absolutely.
watch this space. But as I said to you earlier, Carole, I would very much love to welcome you back to do a longer discussion about this, because obviously in the CMA Showcase video, we've only got a short amount of time just to introduce the concept, and obviously help to highlight you to our members, and also people who are maybe on the fence about joining the CMA, and where they haven't actually quite realized the incredible wealth of wonderful things that we do. So there is that. But it's been an absolute blessing to speak with you just now,
Oh, thank you.
and yeah, and we need to get you back. So I'll liaise with you about that, and everybody else watching and listening. Do rest assured you will get more Carole, because we all need her. So, but Carole, thank you so much for being
No
with me
problem.
today. Truly appreciated.
Thank you, Jayney.
Pleasure.